What's up, guys? Today's video is an interweaving of Stoic thinking and communication. In studying both communication and Stoicism, I see a lot of useful benefits. I find a lot of use in Stoic principles and in studying Stoic philosophy. So digging in here, how do these things relate to each other? How can one benefit the other, and how do they relate? I think there's a lot of value in aligning these two things. In general, this is just a small subset of the different things that probably go together. Over the course of a year, continue studying, continue connecting things, and probably write about them some more. One of the first things that I would say is perception. And a big Stoic principle or concept is the idea of perception and how objective thinking, leaving our perceptions behind, because our perceptions are a lens through which we see the world, and are often just a lens that's guided by our experiences, our nature, our nurture, and the environment around us, exactly how we come to it. It's unique to us. And so we can apply our perceptions to all the events of our life and choose how we perceive things. Ultimately, it's not useful. And understanding that if we can disconnect our perceptions, we have the opportunity to control our actions and our behaviors and our thoughts on the other side of it. So I believe that communication is a key tool for this, and seeking the truth, or seeking a little bit more evidence towards what it is that we think and believe. And instead of jumping to conclusions or allowing our perception to dictate our actions, we can communicate and try to understand others better and try to understand the events around us a lot better. Addition, gaining control of our thoughts and actions. It's solely within our control. And if we focus and exercise that control, we have the ability to work on our minds. The single thing that can't be really controlled by anyone else. Obviously, we can be influenced, but if we continue to exercise that, we can eliminate that or reduce that influence and ultimately take full control of our lives. Results of this are understanding, and you can share that understanding with the world and ultimately seek a better truth. Another principle or understanding, useful concept, is being the person you want to be and then taking the actions to be it or be that person. I think that by setting the goal of being a very effective communicator and setting the goal of being true and honest, the most honest version of yourself, one, it's a very freeing perspective to have and a freeing choice to make, instead of burying all your thoughts and feelings and emotions inside and struggling with them potentially and breeding resentment towards others. We can be a great communicator through actions and through deliberate practice in trying to connect with others and voice our discontent and voice our disgruntled feelings that are inside, and try to seek an understanding based upon what we most likely perceived and misinterpreted and allowed and applied poor judgment to. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. In fact, like the entire exercise Stoicism would argue for is seeking the truth. I doubt that you could find truth in a vacuum. You could come to your own understanding, but by living in just that world, you don't challenge it. And you don't, by sharing your perspectives, you can seek the truth. You can bounce that off of others, and you can gain different perspectives and ultimately come up with something that most likely is truer than if you just think it in your own head and apply your own version of evidence with confirmation bias existing throughout life. Another idea that I had is the unexamined life isn't worth living, and how best to examine it but by examination of differing perspectives. Again, kind of like the previous point. You can adopt and you can study your own perspectives, and you can write about them, and you can journal about them, and you can blog about them, and come up with your own version of the truth. But that's just your version. It's not necessarily objective. It's objective from your point of view. So by contrasting this with other points of view, I think you have the opportunity to make it stronger. And by challenging it, you also open up yourself to the opportunity of learning that you could be wrong, that there could be a different truth out there that seems much more correct than the one that you might have developed. because one of the concerns would be self-deception. So checking our self-deception because it undermines our ability to learn and grow. Our viewpoints, our perceptions, our perspectives are through a lens. And in order to totally remove that perception, it's probably a very difficult ask. It's probably very unrealistic. And so by checking and challenging our perspectives, our thoughts, our beliefs, we offer up the opportunity to understand where we might be deceiving ourselves, potentially where even our ego gets in the way, and we could build a better understanding of ourselves and a better self-awareness. This only reinforces the control of your mind and the ability to be sound and rational. You must communicate and challenge your own thoughts to gauge this self-deception. Without it, you're just living in a vacuum. Live in what's real. So instead of understanding that by being and striving to be the best communicator you could be, you can listen and connect with others and live in the moment instead of in the past, weaving and connecting stories into your own personal narrative. Live in the moment, be present. It's a big portion of probably between videos of 20 and 40 of something that I've been working on and something that I continue to work on, especially as I continue to study communication, to really lean into it as one of the fundamental skills in life. Another thing is becoming a philosopher. We exercise our guiding reason to start questioning our beliefs, our emotions, and even our language, the things that we take for granted. Communication is exactly this. It's understanding and sharing our perspectives, challenging them versus others, challenging the reality that we see, and challenging the reality that they see. This is the clash. This is the gauntlet that it can go. And the ability to analyze our own minds and ultimately come up with new conclusions and learn and grow is one of the most fruitful endeavors that we can experience in life. You hear it a lot of times that people age so far and then they just die. So like you spend 60 years without any growth, without any change in your life. That is a life unlived. So hopefully this gives a little bit of perspective. I think this is going to be an ongoing lesson as my understanding of Stoicism evolves, and I can better weave that and connect that into communication. If you are just getting into communication and improving it, or if you're getting into Stoicism, I find Stoicism being incredibly useful. A couple of the books that I would recommend is the books by Ryan Holiday. It'd be The Obstacle is the Way, 365 Days of Stoic, which is there's a Stoic principle for every day. It's incredibly useful. I do read it every day. Each of these things are a useful bit of information that you could study and use in your own life. It's very applicable. And that has always been the best information for me, is to be able to apply it and see how it works in my life or doesn't. Then you can either disregard it or implement it and keep it as a part of your routine and who you are, of your identity. This is also a benefit that comes from communication. By communicating every day with the people of all different perspectives and all different types, it is the best foundation or the best arena for growth. You get to challenge yourself every day as your own understanding of your thoughts and your beliefs and how you convey them. We can think in whatever way we want to when we are in our heads. It's our own little playground. But by putting those things out into the world, you get to challenge them. And really, they get to stand up to scrutiny and to criticism. And whether or not they can do that should make you question whether or not they're strong enough or your understanding is strong enough. So give it a shot. Hopefully this helps. You can't lose if you don't quit.